So there's not much I enjoy doing more in the kitchen than pushing my air fryer way beyond what it was designed for. And today we are setting a brand new bar because in this video, I am cooking 6 completely unique sandwiches at 6 different price points, starting with just a $1 budget and working all the way up to a $250 sandwich, with the goal of using all my culinary and air fryer skills to make the best possible sandwich at every single price point.
Holy shit.
So we're gonna see today if increasing the budget will actually create a better final sandwich. And because we're making 6 completely different sandwiches, I linked all of the recipes and details below in a free Google Doc if you wanna follow along and make any of these sandwiches featured in the video. And we're starting things off with the $1 budget, which was the most limiting creatively in this whole video. To me, it sort of had to be the grilled cheese sandwich. I couldn't think of anything else on this budget, so I'm using some plain old white bread. I'm gonna spread some butter on one side of each slice. I'll pop layer 1, butter side down, right on the air fryer. Layer on a few pieces of cheese, pop the second bread slice, butter side up, and this baby is off to the air fryer.
All right, here we go. Grilled cheese. I'll start 370, 4 minutes on the first side. Yeah, with that. Give it 3 more minutes. All right.
You know, I've never had bread out of an air fryer.
Yeah,
before.
in the past it's been a little bit too crunchy, but this one, let's see. Oh shit.
Damn.
That's better than I thought.
I love grilled cheese.
Yeah.
It's so good.
My God.
Wow, it's really
American
crunchy.
cheese.
It's the best cheese
It's
ever.
just like
the best not cheese
you blow
ever.
on it and it melts and it just stays like so perfectly.
God.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the premier
Wow.
grilled cheese. Like
It's just, it's not, to me, it's not really cheese. It is irreplaceable though.
this kind of
me.
makes me think that like you should not be making fancy gourmet grilled cheeses. Like it's either this or nothing.
You can't beat this.
Would you say it's worth it?
Yeah, this would be worth more than $1 in my heart.
Worth it, my friends. $1, but we need more money. We need to increase that budget. All right, so we're moving right into the $5 price point. We've got a little bit of cash to work with here. And for me, $5 felt like the perfect college budget. So I tapped back into my roots and we're making something that I lived off of for years, which are veggie flatbread melts. Now, I used to make these things all the time in a pan because unfortunately air fryers did not exist when I was in college. But this sandwich is just a slightly grown up version of what I used to make, yet it still requires basically no skills. First, I'm gonna take the zucchini, I'm gonna slice them in half, I'm gonna score each half, and I'll toss them right in the air fryer, and then I'm gonna put the red pepper right in the middle, give them a little spray of oil, and these are going in my air fryer at 450 degrees for about 10 minutes, and halfway through, I'm gonna give that red pepper a flip so it chars on both sides. Then once they come out of the air fryer, I'm just gonna let them steam in a bowl just for a few minutes, and you can peel off the skin of the red pepper if it comes off nice and easy, but it's not necessary for this sandwich. And I'll just slice up all of the veg. Now you can do this with a thicker flatbread, but these thinner ones are nice because they roll up like a wrap. And I'm just gonna layer all the veggies right onto the flatbread, and I'm grating on some mozzarella, but you can use whatever melting cheese you have on hand. And then I'm gonna place the flatbread right in my air fryer, and I'll cook it at 400 degrees for just about 4 to 5 minutes. Then while that's cooking up, all I have to do is just slice up some nice, crispier, firmer lettuce, and then you just need to pick out your dressing of choice. I really like balsamic with the roasted veggies, but since we're tuning into those college roots, it's gotta be ranch for this sandwich. And you can see after a few minutes in the air fryer, the cheese has melted and I have some nice crispy edges on the side of the flatbread. So I'll layer on some lettuce, drizzle on that dressing, and wrap it up.
Oh yeah, baby.
It's so much better than I thought it was gonna be. It's so good. It's so
For
simple.
a veggie wrap,
Yeah.
so simple,
So easy.
worth it.
So worth it.
So worth it.
Oh yeah.
Now we're moving on to the $15 budget, which in my mind felt like the perfect price point for a chicken sandwich. And you guys know that I love making chicken in the air fryer. But with a little bit more budget, we can start getting more ambitious with some of the components of the sandwich. So at $15, I am making a crispy Korean fried chicken sandwich. And since we're officially moving beyond the basics, I wanted to make the perfect soft homemade bun from scratch. And not only are these buns gonna take this sandwich to another level, but we're actually going to repurpose them them for the next price point as well. Now to get these buns as soft and fluffy as possible, I'm starting with the tangzong, which is a technique commonly used in Japanese milk bread by cooking down a flour paste that's gonna create this super light and fluffy texture. Then to a mixer, I'm gonna add my flour, salt, yeast, and water. Then I'll add in that cooked flour paste and I'll give everything a nice mix. And I'll let this dough rise overnight. And the next day I portioned out my dough and formed them into buns. All right, so now that we have our buns for the next 2 sandwiches, it's time to move into these chicken cutlets. And I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which I'm just gonna lightly pound the thicker parts to even everything out for cooking. And one thing I've learned over years of air frying is you never use a batter. They just don't hold up in the air fryer. You always have to use a breading. So for this one, I'm using equal parts cornflakes and panko breadcrumbs, which I'm just gonna pulse together until they're fine, but still have some chunkier pieces for some extra crispiness. Then I'm gonna add a generous amount of untoasted sesame seeds before running the chicken through a standard 3-part breading process. All right, with the chicken taken care of, it's time to really flavor it up and knock out some of the finishing touches of this sandwich. First, I made a quick daikon and cucumber pickle to bring some nice crunch and freshness. Then I whipped up a sesame scallion mayo for a little bit of richness and some aromatic flavor. Then finally, this sandwich would not be complete without a sticky, glazy sauce. So I made a really simple gochujang glaze, and there's only one thing left to do. These cutlets are getting the dunk-a-lunk. Wow.
Okay.
Going corner bite. It's like banh mi meets sort of Nashville
Korean.
chicken
Oh, yeah.
meets Korean. I mean,
Delicious.
I'm dripping sauce. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I like
Oh.
the pickles just cool it down so much
Yeah.
immediately. It's so good. Definitely worth it. I mean,
Definitely
yeah,
worth it.
I would pay like $26 for this.
Yeah, that's like a Brooklyn Food Festival $26 sandwich that blows your ass off. Not in like, you know, poop your pants type of way, but like
Yeah, I know. And
What's your
yeah.
mind?
Now my main goal of this video is to show you how you can level up your air fryer game, which brings me to the sponsor of today's video, Tasty. And every sandwich in this video was made using the Tasty Smart Ceramic Air Fryer. And if you've been following my air fryer journey for a while, you know I've been searching for a good ceramic PFAS-free air fryer for years now. So I was so excited to get my hands on this thing. And not only does it have an excellent ceramic nonstick coating that has held up incredibly well after about a year of use, but it also has a feature that I've ended up using almost every single day, which is this built-in smart temperature probe. Now, if you're busy like myself, or you just never want to have to worry about undercooking or overcooking your food, you can simply select your type of meat, choose your desired doneness, and this air fryer will handle the rest using its smart algorithm to perfectly cook your protein. But if you want a little bit more control, you can also just pick your cooking temperature, and the probe will give you that real-time internal temperature reading, which I use for every sandwich in this video, and I certainly relied on it for that last sandwich. I was not screwing that one up. So if you're looking for an air fryer that's PFAS free, easy to clean, super easy to use, and packed with awesome features, be sure to check out the Tasty Smart Ceramic Air Fryer using the link below. All right, my friends, we've made it to $25, and this is where things get very serious, because we can stop just focusing on stretching the budget, and we can start focusing a little bit more on ingredient quality. So at 25 bucks, I could afford myself some really nice freshly ground beef from my local butcher to make a burger, which I guess isn't a sandwich, it's a burger, but you know, tomato. Actually, speaking of tomatoes, this burger is not getting one, because currently the tomatoes are growing very well, but we're still still a good month away from a fresh slicer. So instead of all the classic fresh burger toppings, we're gonna lean a little more into a richer burger. And since the whole point of this challenge is to use the air fryer as much as possible, I wanted to find a way to work it in more than just cooking the burger in there. So I'm making a batch of crispy onions. So I sliced up one yellow onion nice and fine, and I'm gonna remove the tray from the air fryer and I'll throw the onions in there. And I'm just gonna give them a little bit of oil and a little salt. Doesn't need much. And I'm cooking these at a very low heat, around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And you just wanna give them a toss every now and then to help them cook evenly. And you should get a final product similar to crispy onion strings, which will add a ton of flavor and texture to this burger. But of course, just crispy onions as a topping is not enough to carry this burger. We need a good sauce, so I'm simply going to whip together a quick burger sauce with some mayo, mustard, and ketchup, and a little bit of homemade pickle relish. Now I used a ring mold to form the burgers nice and evenly, and then I just pressed them out a little bigger than the bun diameter because they are gonna shrink when they are air fried. And I gave them a nice seasoning of salt and pepper on both sides. Then I'm gonna use the temperature probe to monitor these burgers as they cook, and then I'm gonna cook them at the highest temperature this air fryer goes, at 450 degrees, to give them that really nice sear. Worked. Turn off the keys. Come on.
This is my favorite video ever.
All right, here we go. You want to take a slice? Yeah, I could have gone up a few degrees.
Perfect,
I'm like realizing 125 is rare.
Yeah.
135 is medium rare. But it's good beef. The best beef you can get. Since we didn't have the tomatoes in season, I just kept it kind of.
You don't need all that
Yeah,
stuff on
Yeah,
burger.
less is more with the burger.
Yeah.
I think it's cooked perfectly.
You like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
words.
No.
Don't have too much to say about that.
This is a noise-based reaction.
Also, this definitely worth it.
Yeah. Would you say $20 worth it?
Yes, 100%. You paid. Yeah, you can get a bad burger for $20. Like,
That's true.
Yeah.
You need a lot of cooking skills, though.
All right, the budget is doubling once again to $50, which means we're probably entering uncharted air fryer territory. We're talking about ingredients that certainly have never touched my air fryer, and probably no air fryer that has ever been in existence. Because we are making lobster rolls, which just felt like the right fit at that $50 budget. Now, I did consider buying whole fresh lobster, but cooking the whole lobster in the air fryer just felt like a challenge for a separate video. So I stuck with just tails, which seemed like a much safer bet. Then to prep them, I simply trimmed away those fins and some of that membrane along the sides of the shell to expose a little bit more meat. And after that, it was a generous seasoning of salt and pepper. And remember that frozen compound butter trick from last video? Well, I couldn't think of a better place to use it. So I sliced up a cube into a few chunks and laid them directly on top of that exposed lobster meat. And these tails were off to the air fryer. I might be the first person to ever cook lobster tail in an air fryer. Breaking barriers, my friends. And we've got one shot at this. That's for damn sure. Go 400. We'll start at 10 minutes, but really, once I plug this in, I'm gonna go off the internal temp. Once that hits about 135, I'm pulling it. All right, here we go. Whoa, it curled up in there. It smells amazing. Now, when it comes to classic lobster rolls, you really have the two main camps. The Connecticut style lobster roll, which is served warm with melted butter, and the Maine lobster roll, which is dressed up with a light mayo-based sauce. Now, I've personally sampled both of these in different New England spots, and they are both delicious, but I prefer the Maine style because it has a little bit more flavor, which is what we're gonna go for this lobster roll. So I grabbed whatever fresh herbs were looking good in the garden. I gave them a rough chop, mixed them in with some mayo, some lemon juice, a little salt and pepper. Boom, you've got your dressing. And once the lobster was cool enough to handle, I popped the meat out of the shells. I gave it a rough chop and just gently folded everything together. And I could have made some homemade rolls for this. I have done that in a prior sandwich series episode, but trust me, after the final recipe, you'll see why I was just tapped out of homemade bread making. But I did go right to the source and picked up some proper New England split top rolls. I buttered up both sides and I toasted them right in the air fryer until they were golden brown. Then it was finally time to bring everything together. I started with some fresh lettuce leaves that I picked straight from my garden, followed by the lobster mixture. Then I topped it off with some homemade pickle relish and sprinkled on some finely sliced up green onion. All right, here we go. Carly's not here for this tasting because she's actually allergic to shellfish. So I'll be rating this one. I haven't had a lobster roll since I went to Maine, I think like 6 years ago, pre-children. It's just such a burst of freshness, this sandwich. I mean, it's a lobster salad on a hot dog bun, so not a sandwich at all, but close enough. So the question is it worth the price point at 50? I think if you're not living in a place where there is a ton of lobster around, you're kind of getting ripped off a little bit. Lobster can be so expensive, so I can't say the value is actually worth the final product. All right, so I have to admit something to you before we move into this last sandwich. This one, it makes me feel a little bit like a YouTube sellout. I bought myself some proper A5 Wagyu because we are making the Wagyu Katsu Sando. And I ordered this A5 Wagyu beef strip loin steak online from the Wagyu shop. And it's the real deal, my friends. I mean, this thing comes with like a full birth certificate and a whole origin story. And at this price point for this one steak, we have entered the highest possible rating of Wagyu at A5. And this is truly some insane marbling happening with this piece of meat right here. But before we get into the Wagyu prep, let's shift gears to the bread, which of course had to be some Japanese milk bread. And there's really no place to pick one of these up around me, so I had to take matters into my own hand and go full bakery mode. And just like the buns from earlier, this bread starts with the tangzong, but the dough is gonna be much richer. We've got some sugar in here, and we're using milk instead of water. And once the dough starts coming together in the mixer, it also gets a generous amount of butter. Now the dough gets proofed until it doubles in size. Then I'm gonna split it into 4 even pieces, and I'll shape them into balls, and I'll let them rest before shaping them into my final loaf. All right, geez, enough bread content already. Let's move into this Wagyu prep. So I was able to get 2 beautiful pieces out of this steak, and I'm gonna use the trim pieces for a few test runs in the air fryer so I don't this up too bad, and they'll also make some delicious snacks. Now I ran the Wagyu through a standard 3-step breading process, finishing it off with a coating of some panko breadcrumbs. And for the final 2 elements, I have this homemade katsu sauce, which is basically a Japanese barbecue sauce, and simply some very finely shaved raw green cabbage, which is gonna give this insanely rich sandwich some much needed freshness.
All right, I got 1 shot at this. I'm gonna pop the thermometer right in the core. We'll give it a nice even spray on one side, spray on the other side. Pop this in. Set it for 4:30, 10 minutes. But what's really important is I'm just gonna watch what that says. And I did a few different tests here with the scrap pieces. This was more like a 120, 125. This was like 110, 115. I think I'm gonna go on the lower end. All right, we're done. See? Oh, yeah. This is a dense, thick sandwich right there. It's good we're splitting this. Here we go. It's pretty like buttery when I cut through, which is a good sign. Oh, yes. I like that a lot. It's not like fully rare like, you know, you see sometimes, but from my test, I didn't want it too rare.
This is a 1 knee sandwich.
This is a crazy breakfast too. First bite of the day. All right,
There we go.
all right.
Wow.
Holy sh**.
The meat is right. Because
Oh my God.
I do feel like if you undercook it more, it's a little more chewy.
Oh my God. I
Whoa.
was not.
Have you ever had
No.
Cooper? I've only had this the last time I made it.
Oh my God.
And this is a much better version. Works.
I'm not talking. I got nothing.
The texture of the meat is so, it's like, yeah, like butter. It just
Yeah,
like
it's
your
fat.
teeth just like sink through it.
But
Wow.
is it better than the $1 grilled cheese, though? It's a close. It's a close. So is it worth $250?
No.
I sold out for
Yeah.
YouTube. Let's be real.
I mean, it's good, but I wouldn't pay it out of pocket.
This is a production budget.
Yeah. But it's good.
There you go.